maximize. There you go. Okay. Namaste, Amba.
Namaste.
I was thinking of reporting that I'm feeling more grounded, but
That's good.
yeah.
You just did. Thank you so much for meeting me earlier than usual.
Oh, it's such an honor to be in service to the grace like this. A little scheduling adjustment on a Saturday morning is no problem.
Good.
Yeah. And what a gorgeous chapter, chapter 5.
Oh yeah, it was wonderful, wasn't it? I really enjoyed reading it.
Yeah. And Ribhu is not messing around. I'm just looking over at my notes here. So 15 verses. They're 8-line verses, right? So it's 120 lines. Basically, over 100 times he's saying something is like the horns of a hare. So basically, every single thing you could conceive of or hold precious.
Yeah. Basically just saying it doesn't exist.
Right.
Doesn't exist.
Right. And, things that I really do hold precious, speaking affectionately, seeking understanding, listening. All of these are as real as the horns on a bunny rabbit.
Yeah.
So there's no place for the mind to settle.
No.
Because, well, I'm not quite sure why. I just know that that's the case. And then finally in verse 15 and 16, it's like, pulling the rug. And can I read 15 and 16?
Yeah,
so it's just sort of what this is culminating to. Anytime and anywhere, the duality that delineates the world, individuals, and the supreme is totally false, like the horns of a hare. The perfectly full, supreme Brahman alone is the absolute truth, which remains imperishable, untainted, in all the 3 periods of time. One who listens to and understands this extremely secret truth with no wavering becomes Brahman. Listen to this certitude that all is Brahman, rare to come by for all gods and humans. This is the secret as expounded to me by Sambhu, Shiva, the bestower of happiness. Whatever is the substance of the mental mode that is I, whatever is the stuff of the mental mode that conceives of this, and whatever appears as the seen is all of the nature of Brahman. The stuff, the substance of the mental mode that is I. It's like he's saying the stuff that thought is made of.
Like the essence of it. I think of it as like the essence of it. Oh, yeah, same. I just found it really funny somehow. I just felt like it's quite hilarious, like he's saying like the whole time. Like he's basically just saying nothing exists, this doesn't exist, that doesn't exist. This is my interpretation. This doesn't exist, that doesn't exist, that doesn't exist either. Nothing that you can think of exists. And then even he goes on to say, I can't remember exactly, but this is my memory. It says something like he starts to talk about concepts and ideas and the mind, and he's saying even the mind is a concept. And then he starts to say everything is mind, but he's already said that the mind doesn't exist really. But then after he says everything is mind, then he goes into say that like the mind doesn't exist either, or like the mind, everything that is of the mind is just like of the nature of Brahman. So I just found it like really it's kind of amusing, because I think it's because it's like so many words and like the same thing over and over again, and every part of it is beautiful. Like it hits you, every line is like potent. But it's just, I don't know. I just feel like I really feel like it's a comedy. You know, the whole thing is a comedy. Like even yourself, like I'm sitting there reading it. You know, like this body sitting there reading. Blah, blah, blah. Even now we're here like this, but like we don't exist. Like that's what it's saying. Yeah, we don't exist. No, it's funny, isn't it? Yeah, to just laugh. Like we take ourselves so seriously. Even, you know, like nothing exists. Like not even the like spiritual search, or like, you know, like we get on this kind of like seeker, or we're trying to understand or seek the truth. And it's like none of that exists. And like we can take that so seriously, you know, that part of ourselves. Or like you said, you know, what we take so seriously, the beautiful things, you know, relating to somebody kindly or listening, and all of that. And like, yeah, no, none of that exists. I just think it's fun. But there's different levels, you know, as well. I don't think it's like that. Like we can't still aspire towards being kind to people, and listening. You know, all of those like good qualities and being in life, because we're still experiencing life. It's just not what we think it is. You know, it's like they're kind of like different levels. Like this is pointing to the ultimate truth, but still we're still experiencing ourselves at the same time, like simultaneously we're experiencing ourselves in this that doesn't exist. So, you know, I don't know what the conclusion is about that, but like I feel like one could kind of be kind of saying, well, none of it exists, so therefore nothing matters. And you could take a kind of a negative approach, and then so it doesn't matter if I'm unkind to somebody because it doesn't really exist. And kind of conceptually it's true, but somehow it's not really true, because I don't think it's even that it doesn't exist, it's just that it doesn't exist as we think it does. Like it's not what we think it is, you know. And yeah, I don't know. You can't really come to a conclusion, but like I know that it feels really wrong to just like disregard everything, like so to disregard the world because it's not true, or because it doesn't exist. Like so to completely disregard everything that we experience and all is not the right way either. I really find it like the best entertainment. You know, like I watch all kinds of entertainment, different things on Netflix and all. But like I actually find like satsang and this type of thing, like I just think it's the best entertainment.
As I was watching Amba read it
Mm-hmm.
on the YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
I had one little man tear just all by itself start to trickle down here. I have no idea why, but it felt so lovely just to have it, you know, because
Mm-hmm.
you feel every little millimeter.
Yeah. I remember someone told me once that different tears are different, like they taste different. If you cry like with bliss, they're sweet, and if you're
Mm,
crying like with anger and pain, they're kind of like salty and bitter
mm,
tears. And
mm.
after they told me that, I did notice, like when you cry with like blissful feeling, it can feel so warm. And I think I might have tasted it at one point, but I can't really remember. But I do remember like it can feel really nice when you're crying blissfully. But if you're crying like angrily or something, it can sting. You know, like actually stings, like hurts your eyes.
It was more like a sense of elation and wonder, like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, couldn't contain it somehow, and you know, had to be manly about it, but it managed to squeeze out anyway.
That's good.
So Ribhu's not done. right? In case you tried to just settle in. All right, there's nothing to grab onto, but at least I have a body. Oh no. So the verse 22, and then so verse 22, if I may.
Yeah.
The intellect that concludes I am the body may be deemed to be the boundless attachment. The intellect that concludes I am the body may be deemed to be birth, senility, and death. The intellect that concludes I am the body may be deemed to be all the great sin. The intellect that says I am the body is not a whit real. Indeed, all that exists is Brahman.
I love that. Is not a whit real.
A wit. I don't
Yeah.
know what a wit is, but
I know. I don't really know what a whit is either, but it reminded me of the word whimsical.
ah,
Do you know that word? And it kind of almost sounds like a whimsical kind of statement. It's not a whit real. Like it feels. I think it feels like really light and joyful even in the expression. Like he could have said it's not a bit real or it's not real at all or something. But it's not a whit real. It means like I think it means like not the tiniest even, not even the tiniest bit real. I suppose that's what a whit means.
a bit of historical subtlety then is I'm really convinced that although the cover on your copy of Ribhu is different from the one I have,
Mhm.
I believe that Ramamurti and Nome are responsible. So Ramamurti did the translation of the words from the Tamil, and
Mhm.
Nome basically brought satsang to their conversations.
Mhm.
And so the word wit is probably
Mhm.
a bit of their
Oh, yeah.
combined work.
Good choice of words.
Brilliant. Um, Mozart himself would be impressed with the
Mm.
melody here, I'm sure.
Mhm.
And the way it comes together at the end, the way it comes together in, you come over to verses 38 and 39. Actually, I'd like to read 37, 38, and 39.
Mhm.
Mind exists not. The world and individuals, jivas, and whatever else there is of the mind exists not. Always. Everything is of the nature of the immaculate existence, bliss, consciousness, space, the undivided nature of the Supreme Brahman. There is no doubt of this. It is the truth. I say this in the presence of the omnipresent Supreme Shiva. Whoever listens to and understands well this secret explanation will become Brahman. By the purifying Vedanta inquiry, by the pleasurable devotion to the Supreme Shiva, by the renunciation of wealth and other discardable things, and by the blemishless meditation on the Supreme Shiva, the knowledge that confers liberation will arise, and the aforesaid quiescence of mind reigns supreme. The mind can never attain peace by any vociferous disputations. For those who become the seer alone with nothing to see, and who remain in a state devoid of mental misconceptions, there is no waking, dream, or deep sleep, no death or deliverance, and nothing else. What shall we say of the sublimity of the state of mind ensconced in the stillness of the solitude of the void? Thus did Ribhu describe the certitude, the absolute truth to Tinadaga.
Mhm.
What shall we say of the sublimity of the state of mind ensconced in the stillness of the solitude of the
Mm.
void?
It's very poetic. Mm.
It's very powerful when Amba just pauses while reading,
Mm-hmm.
because, what is laughingly called the mind
Mm-hmm.
is looking for something to cling to. And when Amba is sort of nothing, then there's sort of a settling.
Mm-hmm.
So, in other words, there's nothing to identify with. So maybe that identifying mechanism just sort of.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this wish coming to want to be there in person with you, just sort of natural magnetism. It's not a wit reel. It's going to stay with me for a bit. It's not a wit reel.
Mm-hmm. I started a Instagram Song of Ribhu page a while ago, and
Okay.
I posted that line, like I don't know what it was, that last line that you read, it was the intellect that believes itself to be I is not a vitriol. I can't remember now exactly what it was.
Oh yeah. Okay,
I
great.
thought it was,
That's cool. How that's synchronicity is great. I love
yeah,
it.
because
That must be.
I liked it so much. It's not a vitriol.
Oh, I'm so tickled to have picked out just a few verses and to have resonated with one that you really were taken with. Also, it's cool. Mhm. I'm noticing. Are these wooden beads? Are you wearing a mala?
Yeah, this is like my oldest mala. It's just like nothing fancy. It's just like Rudraksha's.
Oh yeah, gotcha.
I've had it for like 12 years.
Very cool. Very cool. When we were with Osho back in the day, we had a mala with a picture on it, and it was his
Yeah,
face. But
yeah,
what he said was, "That's not my face. If it was my face, I couldn't put it there."
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Mm. So is it really clear for you that what you are is beyond the body, and it's not with real all of the ideas or the intellect that says it's the body? Is it obvious?
Um,
Or is there something that comes that gives like doubt or something?
there's regular and frequent repetition of the I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's definitely still there.
Mm-hmm. But if the I thought appears, just because the I thought appears, it doesn't mean that you're it. Because whether the I thought appears or doesn't appear doesn't really matter, because what you are isn't that anyway. Is it seen like that or not? or is it more like when the I thought appears that you forget all about everything else?
There is a desire to identify with the space or the background, the
Mm,
space in which the thoughts, including the I thought, are appearing.
mm,
There's a sense of that
mm,
that comes sometimes more strongly than others.
mm,
Certainly after sitting quiet,
mm, mm,
um,
mm,
sometimes while looking.
mm,
Um, and, it's not that it has to be a particular way, but
mm.
the judgment, if you will, is that it's not all the time.
Yeah. I feel like it's like, I don't know if it's like this for everyone, but I feel like it's like if you're sitting in meditation or whatever, or whatever happens, if you just see really clearly, okay, I'm not that I thought, and I'm none of that. So all of the teachings of the Ribhu basically are really clear, even in a second. That it doesn't really matter how you're seeing in any other times, because it's like in your heart, like you just like, because once you've seen it, it's like, it's like looking in I don't know what you could what you could compare it to. It's like just looking down to see if the ground is there beneath your feet or something. So it's like, even though you don't see it all the time, it's there. But if you look down, you've looked down once, so you see it's there. And I know sometimes we do need to look more than once to be sure. Like, but if we've looked like 10 times or however many times and it's really clear, then no matter what the experience is, even let's say, because it's the analogy of the ground beneath your feet, even when you're walking along, if it feels like you're flying or floating, it doesn't really matter what the experience is, because you really know that the ground is there. It might not be a great analogy, but I feel like it's like that. Like, I don't really feel that concerned with my experience. Like, now I might say something different in 5 years' time, or in even in a week's time or something, because everyone's experience is different. But this is just where my experience is at the moment. That I don't really mind what my experience is. I'm not judging what my experience is, um, because I just know that it's so clear deep in my heart, like what is true and what's the truth, and it's so much in my heart that really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I take myself to be a person for even a whole day. Even if I'm behaving like, I feel like even if I'm behaving like egotistical or something, or if I'm caught up in some kind of conditioning or something for some amount of time, there's no judgment for that, because it doesn't really matter. But of course, it's not that I'm going to, if I do act from there, of course it's like, it's more like just accepting the humanity, because I feel like that's the humanity aspect. And I feel like we can really, when you really accept the truth of who you are, then you can allow your humanity to just be as it is much more. And I know that humanity is like changing all the time, um but somehow the humanity is allowed, and then also your divinity is allowed into your humanity as well. So it's not like I'm just going to go around not being, let's say, we'll use this as an example, not being kind to people, and you can reflect on it afterwards. If you act from your conditioning, let's say, and you're unkind to someone, it's not that there's a judgment of it, but you would maybe reflect on it and learn from it, like how might I deal with that situation better the next time. But really, you kind of know, like, there's a deeper knowing that it doesn't really matter, like none of that matters. That's kind of on one level, that's going to be there as long as our body is there. Like, that's, like, I like the words Muji uses. It's like, it's consciousness refining itself. He says, like,
Ah,
consciousness continues to refine itself all the time.
ah,
Or like, I listen to Ajay Shanti sometimes. My partner likes Ajay Shanti, and he says it's like being and becoming. So like, the becoming is always there, it's never going to become. Like the consciousness part of us, or and like the humanity, it's never going to become the truth. Or like, this might say, the mind is not going to ever really realize the truth or become the truth, but that becoming part of us is there, and somehow it's much more free to do so. It's much more, it's just more free when it's almost like like when we look and we see, there's an acceptance of it. Because you can't unsee something. You know what I mean? So like really, I don't think we don't need that. I guess it's something that the mind gives, like an element of that we can judge ourselves. Oh, I wasn't like acting from the truth of who I am in that moment, and I was acting from here. But like, I don't feel like we need that. That's just like another layer of just not needed mind. Something I can't think of the right word. Anyway, I feel
Certainly,
like it's like that.
certainly the pile of discardable things is growing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like we just don't need to be hard on ourselves about anything at all. It's like, and it's so easy. It's like the truth is not hidden from us. It's not even incy wincy, tiny whiny bit hidden from us. Like the same as that says the intellect that says that I am the body is not a whit real. So in the same way, if it's not a whit real and all is Brahman, so that means like everything is the truth, and there's nothing else. So how could it be hidden?
Mm.
It's not hidden. So that also means that I feel that it can be clear in an instant. Like if you're that way inclined to like just be interested, that it can be really clear in an instant. And once you see, you can't unsee.
Mm.
Somehow the like something can deepen, but that's in the level of becoming kind of. It's like it's on a different level, so it doesn't really matter. It's like, like this says as a, like, what's the words, like, be the certainty, have the
Mm.
certitude. So it's just like you can kind of confirm, I suppose, by continuing to look, but it's not like you have to keep looking all the time, like, because that's what kind of way is that to live as well. Like, you don't need to know. It's like it's completely known in your being.
The invitation offered here is simply to rest in that. And, you know, when thinking of moving our meeting up this morning, I thought, oh well, from the end of the meeting for a good hour and a half, there's that opportunity.
Mm.
So these things, this desire to sit quietly, to bask, if you will,
Mm.
um, certainly is growing,
Yeah.
and certainly is richer and deeper. That's beautiful.
Mm.
There's definitely the feeling, whether watching on YouTube or having these conversations, that I'm very much looking at my own self.
Yeah. Yeah. Somehow with some people it feels more clear, or in some interactions it's just like much more palpable or something, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's the same here. Like sometimes, like it's like I know it, but sometimes, like with certain interactions, it's much more palpable,
Mm.
and maybe it's like it's mirrored. That's why, isn't
Mm.
it?
Mm.
My little boy said something to me the other day, just randomly out of the blue. I don't know what he meant by it, but he just said something like, "Your mirror is very clear." I was like, "Okay, good, thank you." There was no mirror around. We were just like on the bed in the morning or something. Okay. I was taking it as just like life speaking through him or something. I wanted
There
to
you
take
go.
it. I wanted to take it like that.
There you go. Good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Like, I don't know. Sometimes it can feel like things are coming from somebody else or from elsewhere, but really everything is coming from inside us. And of course, there is no out there. It's just like when something it's like arising inside us, then we'll find or somehow life provides some kind of reflection that we think matches it or something. I don't know what it is, but it's actually in us. Like, it's not like whatever you're experiencing, it doesn't have anything to do with me. It's like it's completely yours. And like there's only you. That's the whole point. Is that it's like there's only this. Like there's no end. Literally, like there's no end. There's no end to, even though like you have no beginning and no end. There's no end to kind of discovering ourselves in this lifetime. Like it can feel so perfectly clear and whole and complete and blissful. Like when you're kind of recognizing and realizing just the truth of who you are. But somehow, like life is magical. It has some kind of magical way, and we can just like continue. So it's like there's never any end point. Like it's like we have to continue to continue to not hold on and continue to let go of ideas like the whole time. Even if in a moment, like in a moment right now, it's like there might be like no ideas. It's not like letting go of ideas, just like never picking up ideas.
Yeah, it's right back to, that all of that activity is, the result of it is as real as the horns of a hare. I mean,
Yeah,
just a bunny rabbit with horns.
yeah, yeah.
Well, I don't think Ribhu's done working on us. Hmm. You're better than chocolate.
Yeah, way better. That's one of those discardable things. It's good, but discardable. You can't discard yourself. That's why it's like it's the best. Just like to, what's the word, to kind of bathe, or yeah, like to bathe in
Yeah.
your self recognition even.
Well, I use the term bask, but same,
Ask.
same, same, same. Yeah. Mm. Mm. We're coming to the sublime bath in a future chapter. I think it's
Oh,
6
good.
or 7 there.
Oh, good.
That's upcoming. Yeah.
Oh, that would be nice.
Yeah.
I look forward to taking that one.
Yes, we'll bring a towel to that one,
Yeah.
but maybe we'll never dry off.
Yeah.
I think you've got a goal.
Yeah, I was just gonna check the time. I have like 5 more minutes.
Oh, excellent.
So I am. Yeah, I'm not sure if we might have to make a new meeting time.
Okay.
I don't know how we'll do that. Things changed.
Okay.
As they do.
Okay. Weekends are generally best.
Okay.
could do a late night, could do a very early morning,
Okay.
even during the week.
Okay. I'll have to think about when it'll be good. I know our time differences quite
Yeah.
different.
So if there's emphasis or focus from this side, it's just that Amba make time to continue recording.
Okay.
Yeah, that I think is the context here, and I want to do all that I can to support that. And round about a week and a half from now, I'll reach out and we'll see what can work.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Oh.
I'm really grateful for our time together. It's very, very nice.
Till next time.
And also, if you feel like reading a chapter, you can read a chapter. We can upload it somewhere.
Yeah.
Guess
it's time to show this. I see my face is not as pretty. That's the thing, that judgment. I'm sort of hanging on to it. So
yeah,
but
that's not true.
I'll give it a try. I'll do one and we'll see how it goes. And I'll share it.
I just wanted to say all faces are the face of God, isn't it? That's the whole point.
Well, I set up the little recording area to record my voice, and was also proud about the clean recordings I got, and was very happy to share a few verses with you. And it's it's not a big deal to read an entire chapter and to add the video piece, so we'll give it a try.
Maybe I could use those things that you send me. Maybe I could, because they're shorter, I could share them on my Instagram. I have an Instagram called what's it called now? I think it's just called Song of Ribhu. Do you have any objection if I share them?
No objection.
Okay. I used to have a good video editing thing, so you could make a video and add sound to it and all, but I don't have one anymore. So I'm not, but I might get into that as well, because my little boy is starting preschool soon, so I'm going to have loads of time, like 3.5 hours every day. And they're the kind of things I like to do. I like to make videos and things like that. So I could potentially make some kind of video with your voice recordings. Would that be good? Yeah,
absolutely. Camtasia is a good one.
Okay.
Yeah, if you have an MP4, MP3, and you load it up in Camtasia, you push one button and it'll split the audio and the video into separate tracks that you can then edit.
Okay. How do you spell Camtasia? Because that's a strange word.
I'll put it in the chat, but it's Camtasia, Camtasia.
Okay. I'm always trying to find a good one that doesn't cost too much. But
So
I haven't found one.
I got this one on eBay for a few dollars.
Okay.
It's usually hundreds. I don't know how I found this deal, but I got it for work. I need to go to eBay again and get a new copy.
Okay.
Requires a lot of RAM. I have 32 gigs of RAM on my new desktop. So.
Okay.
What a joy. I'll go and give this love to others around the house here.
Yeah, same.
Okay, good.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. Till next time.